Okay, so welcome. This is Spurs TV, and tonight I've got the amazing Steve Singh as my guest tonight. Yeah, you might know
How's it
Steve
going?
from Twitter. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's tuning in from Twitter right now, but we'll see in a few minutes. Tonight we're going to talk about the Brighton game on Saturday. So first of all, first things first. What do you think of us this season since Conte's come in?
Do you know, for me, uh, there was I'm a little bit 50-50 on him, man, and that's what I've always said. I'm gonna judge him on his performances for Tottenham. I'll judge it by game. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. I know that he's obviously. I'm not disputing his pedigree as a manager. It kind of speaks for itself, but that what someone does on their CV in previous jobs has no relevance to what they do for Tottenham. I mean, look at Jose. That kind of he had a quick CV, and what exactly did he achieve? Okay, he got us to a Carabao Cup final, which he was never able to see out. But that's the thing. I'm just taking it game by game by game, and that's where I'm at with him. I'd say that stylistically, I think that he's got a one-dimension style of play, and the games that we got stuck on were teams that probably uh, I don't know in terms of Wolves and Southampton. They absolutely just they outplayed us. We didn't have an answer. I know there was two Hugo mistakes, and Wolves weren't particularly great. Other than that, but we just were terrible in those two games. So, and then obviously you had the game against Everton where I didn't think we were that great. His first game in charge, I'll give him that. And yeah, it's just as I said, if we get top four, it's a bonus because we weren't kind of expecting that. But now I'm looking at it, yeah. So and it's on the table. So let's see what he does.
So do you think now we're favourites for top four? Because I kind of think that, to be honest.
I don't. I think that the next two games, you because what's going to happen is this Brighton game for me is is gonna confirm whether we're it's gonna confirm where we're at right now. Yeah. So after this Brighton game, um, they would have played Arsenal would have played Southampton away, and they would have played the Chelsea game away, and then after today is all well after the this week's set of games it's all level games. There's no more games in hand or whatever like that. And then let's see where we stand because we got a three or four tricky game run coming up where Leicester are finding a little bit of form in the league anyway. They got players coming back from injury, so that's not going to be an easy game. I know that historically we play quite well. Harry Kane plays very well against them at home, and we got a good record against them. But then you never know with Leicester what Leicester's going to turn up. So there's a potential banana skin there. Then obviously you've got the Liverpool game, and then you've got the North London
Arsenal.
derby,
Mm.
and then you've got Burnley, let's see if they're still in a relegation fight. That's not going to be an easy game, but I'm confident that we should beat them at home. But that this for me, let's just take it game by game, and that's it. And if he does achieve top four, then you've got to back him, and he's got to do the same. And I think that he needs to sign a contract extension. I've said that all along, and no doubt he'll probably get one, and he'll get a pay rise to go with it as well.
Okay, so as we're focusing on the next game, the first selection dilemma that I've seen, at least online, is Ryan Sessegnon or Sergio Reguilon at left wing back. So who do you fancy and why? Or who do you think he's going to go with, and who would you go with?
Sessegnon all day long.
Why? I'm just asking
Reguilon,
why. Like,
Reguilon is just not a very good player. He's just not a very good player. He gets if you look at the games defensively, he's always caught out of position. It's teams have targeted him with Route One over the top. Football, Chelsea have done it many times against him, and he just struggles. Just generally, he's not very good defensively. And apart from that season where he kind of had that six assists or whatever, and or 6 goal contributions, he's never found anywhere near that kind of form. And I was just looking at his decision making is poor. His crossing's just not as good as we've seen it. I just genuinely just think he's not. I'd rather have Sessegnon. Sessegnon is for me a more complete option.
So I'm going to counteract that point personally, because for me with Sessegnon, I just find that he kind of plays within himself. Like I expect a lot more from him than I see. And I feel like apart from the Leeds game, when he got those, I think he got 2 assists or something like that. I don't feel like he's really shown what he can really do. And with Reguilon, I think maybe because he's got more experience, he's more of a reliable option. But
I'd say.
So do you think
me,
Conte fancies Sessegnon then more than
yeah,
Reguilon?
yes, 100%. I think that he's in terms of a footballer. I think that he's got a better footballing IQ. It's just like his decision making and I think that's kind of goes with where he kind of played for Fulham, where he was playing a more advanced role, almost a winger sort of role. So and then obviously he's had the interviews come out with him that he's had like dealing with these injuries. He's kind of had like he's seen specialists to kind of get them over the mental side of being injured, and Cotman having some serious injuries as well. I think it was like a grade 2 hamstring issue, and then he's just every single time he gets 1 or 2 game run into the team, unfortunately he's picking up another injury. So I'd really like to see him. Is he would he be my first choice left back? Probably not. No, we can upgrade in that position, but he's the better of the two. And if Madrid are paying 40 million, I'm taking that. For Reguilon.
Fair enough. This is what you think. So now we're going on to the other side of the pitch with Emerson. So with Doherty's injury, logically, we're probably going to see Emerson for the rest of the season. So number one, what do you think of Emerson? Do you think he can fill in for at least to the end of the season, let's say? Or would you try something completely different? Because I know you've told me stuff before, which I'm going to let you speak about it yourself, about certain wingers playing wing back. So would you rather that, or would you rather Emerson? And if Emerson's going to play, are you confident that he's going to do it at least?
You know what? I can't see anybody from the youth stepping up. The simple reason being is that what's the one thing that he's persisted in. He's persisted in this system. So even though and I kind of when we look at it and we analyze and we say, oh, he should have played 5 or he should have played this or he should have played that. As sometimes winners don't change the way, like, why should you change a winning formula when Spurs don't have one? So I kind of do see that side to the argument as well. I definitely see that. So what have Spurs done? So if this guy is trying to instill a philosophy, and which is proven with a track record, then who are we to kind of doubt it? Obviously, you are going to judge your team, or we were rubbish, or we were brilliant. Of course, you are. Football's all about opinions. He's going to play Emerson, and I'm all for that. I know Emerson ain't really the most gifted player, but what Doherty's loss, I think, is almost a little bit. It's gone under the like. Obviously, we all know, but when you actually look into it statistically, he's got like 6 or so odd goal contributions, and it's funny that Tottenham started to perform, when he started to perform, the two went hand in hand. So, and he's turned a leaf in his Tottenham career, and it's just sad that obviously a certain player at at Aston Villa went through him, and then the hand gestures that came afterwards. You never want to see that. You never want to see somebody intentionally hurt someone, or they be set up to kind of deliberately. I'd like to think that's not the case. But you've always had talks of that about Arsenal being a little bit flaky. Maybe, I don't know, Gerrard was trying to say, well, we can't match these guys, so let's try and out physical, like try and give it to Tottenham that way. Lloris kept us in the game. We got very lucky. We rolled our luck, but then obviously we came to the fore. And Emerson's played okay, because there's two of those games where you're talking about Doherty. Doherty played at left wing back for two of those games. So two of our wins. So Emerson has been in the team even when we've been winning. He's not the greatest, but I can't see it. Maybe because I've looked when Bergwijn's come on and when Lucas have come on late on, they've not taken up that right wing back position.
Yeah.
So then Conte's going to do something that's completely different. I don't think he does that. And I was actually Kulusevski, and this goes a bit under the radar. Kulusevski and Matt Doherty have got a little bit of a partnership thing going on as well down that side, and they do play very well together, and they're looking for each other. And you kind of see one gives and one goes, and it's quite pleasing, because I've seen Doherty previously where not many people were passing to him. But I think like where he's grown in a little bit of confidence, and Kulusevski's come there as well, and he does a hell of a lot of work defensively, Kulusevski, which kind of goes unmentioned. He puts in a hell of a shift, and that's a different dynamic and energy that him and Bentancur have added to the team as well. They cover a silly amount of distance every single game.
So, like for me with Emerson, I think just out of the sake of the fact that we shouldn't be experimenting so late in the season, I think he has to play.
No, he's gonna play. He's gonna play. There ain't
he's gonna play, isn't he?
Yeah. So we got Lavagno, who's part of the youth team, and he ain't gonna get in. He is not gonna get into that team. It's just I'm a little bit worried. Today there was news. I don't know if I've heard somewhere that basically Bentancur is going to have a late fitness test.
I heard that too as well. And Winks, I think, as well. I might be wrong, but I think I saw that too.
We are in massive trouble then. Who do we play in the middle? Who do we play in the middle then?
You have to move Dyer into the middle. I don't know what else he could do.
Dyer into the middle. See, I don't.
Unless he tries Harvey White or something, I don't know.
I don't think you can play Harvey White and just throw him in, where he's had 0 minutes to then say, right, you're our starting option, or maybe that's mind games. It could be mind games. I don't know. We'll find out.
I saw it too as well. I saw it on Twitter as well. But it's okay. So, because you mentioned Bentancur and Kulusevski, so what difference do you think they made to us compared to January? What have they added to us that we've needed? Let's say
these two are winners, right? So they've won stuff. Like Bentancur was won at Juventus, and so as Kulusevski, he must have won at least. They brought a kind of a bit of a grit, a little bit of guile. And you've got somebody who's won a few titles there as well. So yeah, it's kind of and as I said, they cover a hell of a lot of distance. And I'm surprised that they've settled as quickly as they have, and they've hit the ground running.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That's the thing. So they haven't had this need a season to kind of bed in, get used to the league. but they've just kind of been thrown in and then just hit the ground running. And I will say that since Bentancur has basically has been performing the way he has, it's funny that Holberg's performances have also improved and improved massively as well. Improved massively. And that's the testament, because I said that he just kind of runs after like lost causes. He's like a bull in a china shop, kind of just running after the ball. But nah, he's put in a serious shift, and I think that Bentancur has complemented his gameplay a hell of a lot. So they really have played well together. I don't think even if Oliver Skip comes back fit tomorrow, he doesn't make the first start in the lineup for me. He doesn't make the starting 11. I wouldn't drop Holberg, and obviously you can't drop Bentancur. So then Oliver Skip is essentially what he should have been for Tottenham. He will be, like, because it's not fair to then kind of put all your hopes and be like, oh, you had one season in the Championship, and then it's like, right, you're our starting 11, and we're going for top 4. It's not fair to put that kind of pressure on him. But we are light in that area. I think that any kind of area, bar defense, like central defense, we're one injury away from like having nothing. So you're one injury, you lose Kane, you've got Dane Scarlett. You lose Son, okay, you've got Bergwijn and you've got Lucas who can kind of fill in there. So that's maybe the one position. But then you lose someone in the middle, and we're talking Harvey White, who hasn't played. Dane Scarlett hasn't played. And then at least at the back, you can afford potentially 2 injuries, and you've still got Joe Rodon and you've still got Sanchez. But then you pick up an injury and a suspension in the central defenders, then you are in trouble, because Tanganga's out as well, isn't
he? Yeah, he's out for the rest of the season, I think. I remember. Yeah,
I think he had a knee operation.
I think for me, Bentancur's added like massive balance on midfield that we've really needed, and he's sort of given the Højbjerg just the responsibility of just sweeping up everything, and he's just dealt with everything else. And then Kulusevski's added a bit of creativity.
He has
that we've really missed.
Do you know what Bentancur actually has? Is he does also have the ability to play to break the lines with his passes, and he's done that a few times where he's done some absolutely beautiful assist or a pre-assist to a goal, and he's done that plenty of time. His passing ranges and his composure as well, I think that's added massive dimension to our team as well, and our defense looks a little bit more solid. Like Ramiro's playing superb as well.
Yeah, he's been brilliant.
So yeah, there's positives that we can take from this. As I said, we take this game by game. Let's go Brighton, and then I think if we pick up 6 points out of these, can I see Arsenal picking up, because obviously they're going to have 9 points. Will they pick up 9 from their next 3?
No, I don't see it.
So I think their next 3, correct me if I'm wrong, is Southampton, Chelsea, and then United, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they're going to probably pick up like 3 points or like 1 point, even for all that.
Well, that's where you're kind of. I'm not getting ahead of myself. It's not secure. You just take it game by game by game, and when we're mathematically, I think that the promised land normally for top 4, the benchmark is, bar 2 seasons, the benchmark has always been 72 points. Has pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So like they say, 40 points makes you safe. 72 points gets you Champions League football. And there's only ever been 2 seasons where mathematically that hasn't been the case, because obviously the levels then obviously gone up that season. But the bar was raised. But this, if you add up the remaining games, we can afford 2 losses and we'll get to 72 points. That will be enough, in my opinion.
I'll probably be Liverpool and maybe one other game, I'd say.
Liverpool, or maybe Liverpool, or even the North London derby. But I think it will come down to desire, and that'll be the first game at the new stadium with fans for a North London derby, like full capacity fans. So let's see what happens.
So in terms of Brighton on Saturday, where do you see us being hurt by them? I've got a list of players here. So I've got like Mwepu, Bissouma, Lamptey, possibly. I don't think he'll play, and a few others that might be able to hurt us, and also Graham Potter. I mean, I know you're a fan of him. So where do you see Brighton hurting us on
Do
the
you know
weekend?
what?
Because obviously they're coming off the back of the win to Arsenal as well. So
Do you know what? Brighton, their away form. We were just looking that up. I mean,
yeah,
their away form is half decent. They've obviously turned over Arsenal this season. They've drew against Chelsea. They've drawn against Everton, which isn't an easy place. They've drawn against Southampton, and they've drawn against Liverpool. So that is not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. So I kind of I'm taking just a 1-0 if we can get it. We're not going to keep scoring 5 and 6 and whatever, but I think that I will say that they're kind of, providing they don't hurt us with their attacks, they are, the way that Conte plays, they are built to basically just be countered every single time, because they press and they press in numbers. It's just open for a counter attack. And one thing that I did like, that I saw with Conte, in the game against Aston Villa, when we were finding it hard to break their midfield down in the first half, especially, he then decided, let's go back to basics, route one football. And if you actually watch the game, I don't know if you watched it, but Liverpool played Man City. There was
I watched that.
there was a lot of long ball football, and hardly the game wasn't even played. Yeah, it was all going direct, and it was chance after chance after chance after chance. So I've not seen us play that way. So basically, I see his little triangles, and then it's kind of like lure someone out of position, and then as soon as you have, then you make the overlap, or you find that pass. It's nice to see. And Ramiro pulled out some peach passes as well in that game. So it's nice to see that. And Dyer's passing is very underrated. Ben Davies is not too shabby as well, and he's done a solid job for us.
So with Romero now, do you think since Conte's come in, he's made like a massive stride? Because I found that earlier in the season he seemed to have more of a hot head and just lunged into tackles more.
No, I think that's a part of his game, and I don't think that if you take that facet out of his game, I think you lose the player that he is. It's like Delhi. Delhi was always one tackle away or something, and then you was looking at him when he'd done something stupid just to wind someone up. He had a nasty streak in him, did Delhi, and Ramiro's kind of the same. You take away that aggression, you lose half of the player that you've got there. But I do look at myself sometimes, and I've got my heart in my mouth, and I'm just thinking to myself, this guy is literally like, please don't dive in when he's on a yellow card. And then you just kind of think you're living on that knife edge. But I don't think you can take that out of his game. I don't think you can. And if you did, you wouldn't have the same player.
I agree with that. I just find like now his aggression is more controlled compared to before. If that makes sense.
I don't know about control. He's still kind of gets a little bit feisty whenever he's playing Brazilian.
I know what you're saying. But like, for example, on the Villa game, you know, when he like ushered the ball out and he pushed, I can't remember who it was, but like I felt like before, I thought he was more likely to go in harder on him. But I felt like it was more controlled. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, no, with him I don't think you can. I think he's, what it is you can kind of almost he's one of them. Like, when we played, I don't think you're ever. Well, I say this because until it happens, but like Jaffet Tanganga
Yeah.
against Crystal Palace, everyone
Oh yeah.
kind of knew he's
Mm.
lost his head, and it was like he is a red card waiting to happen. You could see that, and he just completely lost it. And then 2 seconds later, it was like he went in for another flying challenge, which I was like, "Oh, you're going to get sent off here." And then lo and behold, literally 2 minutes after that, it was like, "Off you go, son." Um, uh, See, with him, I think that there's enough trust that you'll be like, "Nah, we're not going to take you off, even if you are on a yellow."
I think he
So
kind of has learnt to play on the edge a bit. That's what I've noticed.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I said, you take that aggression out of his game. See, what it is if you're in a 50-50 and he comes in after 5 minutes and absolutely takes the ball and takes the player, you're gonna think twice about coming up against him. And
I
then
wouldn't
that,
want to meet
that
him in a
element
dark
of
alley.
doubt, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that element of doubt is always gonna be there. So that's
Yeah.
I don't wanna take that away from his game. I definitely don't want to take that. Yeah.
I think it's kind of helped our defense in a bit because we haven't had a defender like that for. Can't remember the last time we had a defender like that. Maybe 5, 10 years. I don't know. Because even Vertonghen and Alderweireld, I don't think they were that aggressive. Like they were
Yeah,
aggressive, but not in that same way.
and just touching back on what you said about
Yeah.
you said about Brighton, who you think is going to hurt
Yeah.
us. I'm gonna just quickly go, and he always has a good game against us. Is Trossard and
Mm.
I've him and Pascal Gross are the two players that are basically be I'd be wary of. If you can kind of block them two out, if Trossard could finish, he'd be an absolutely fantastic player.
I think he scored
I'm,
against Arsenal, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I'm
No,
not sure.
I think he did because I think it was him and Wepu or something who scored. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
Michael guy scored. I
Yeah.
know, yeah, I see that. I don't know who scored their second, but yeah,
But
Trossard is a very dangerous player. I remember he played against United and he hit the woodwork like 2 or 3 times. He's a very dangerous player. He's the one who I'd say he's going to punish us. Them two are the ones that I'd say low key. They're the ones I'm scared of. But Brighton do struggle to score goals, so
yeah.
it could come down to one of that. That if we score two, Brighton aren't going to score three. That's where you
Game
you
over.
you kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But do you
So
think on the back of the Arsenal win, do you think they'll be coming in with a lot more confidence, I guess, and momentum with them? I mean, compared to like, say, if they didn't beat Arsenal and they played us, would you be more scared? Or the fact for me, I'm more worried because they beat Arsenal. Obviously, it's them coming to Spurs.
then what I gotta and this is what I've gotta look at there. Player for player, we are better.
Yeah,
Managers,
on
we are
paper.
better.
Yeah,
No, on paper, but then that's got to then reflect on, and the team are on a little bit of a high. I'm confident. I'm confident. The only thing that I'm not, our record in the early kickoffs is not great, but we beat Leeds in an early kickoff, so let's see how this goes. I'm confident. I'm quietly confident. I'd probably say if we're gonna, I could see us potentially conceding 2-1. I'll go 2-1.
you go 2-1. So, do you think
2-1.
the early kickoff makes a difference at all?
Yes, it does. 100% it does.
Yeah,
All the top professionals always said it, because you kind of have, like, whenever you go to a match, you kind of have your routine. You do certain little things, and players do little rituals, and they're superstitious. Like, oh, I tie my boots this way, or like I get up and do this or do that, and it throws everything out of sync. And Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher used to say we used to hate it when we ever used to have the early kickoffs. It definitely throws you off kilter. The one thing that I am going to say as well, it swings in roundabouts to a degree. That remember when we were playing Leicester, and we were always playing catch up to Leicester,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then there was
yeah,
always pressure. I've
yeah.
looked at the next couple of games. We're obviously playing before them. So if we can kind of do that, and then it's over to you, Arsenal, and then see what they're all about. Because but one thing that did impress me, right, was the with Tottenham and the way that when everyone's dropped points, United dropped points, Arsenal dropped points, and then obviously West Ham dropped points afterwards. But that was just set up for a Tottenham fail, and we didn't, and we came through it, and that was something that I saw where I know Lloris kept us in the game, and any other day that could be two, we could have gone in 2-3-1 down, but it wasn't, and we changed it around. We changed it around. They were playing physical and getting up in our faces and pressing us and making it hard and hurrying us up, not giving us any space to breathe. And he changed it, and he just went route one, and they had no answer to that. They literally had no answer to that other than just keep fouling us.
So, do
And
you think Son and Kane now, on evidence of the past few games, do you think they're world class or not?
Kane is world class, 100%. I never doubt Harry.
But with Son,
Kane
I see a lot on Twitter, for example, people saying, "No, he's not."
not world class. In my opinion, he's not world class. He's a very very good player. He's just a little bit too inconsistent for me. But when he's on form, boy, he's dangerous. But then he goes through this like kind of, you take away his goals, he doesn't really assist as much as what Kane does. And you take that, so you can say you take away Kane's goals, but then you've got that creative side from him. Yeah, we scored 4 goals versus them, and Kane didn't get on the score sheet. Do you know what I mean? That's an absolute madness that he's able to do what he can do. Whereas Son, I don't know, you take away, he goes through these little purple patches, but I would love to see him take the golden boot this season because he's only 3 behind Salah.
Yeah, he has a very good chance now, I think.
He's on 17.
Yeah, and Salah's on 20, I think, right? Yeah.
Salah's on 20, and Salah's takes the pens as well. So if it's goals from open play, he's ahead. But obviously, it don't work.
So, apart from Arsenal, do you see any other team in the top 4 race with us, like with a realistic chance?
I don't think United. I don't think United can do it. I think with what's the West Ham are playing now, aren't they? So
Yeah,
West Ham haven't got the squad to play 2 games a week. So I think that they'll probably lose, dependent on whether they go through here. If they go through in this tie, they'll have a double-legged tie against Barcelona, which I can't see them win. I cannot see them win that. But if they have to get past Lyon first, so let's see how they get on. What's the score?
Well, right now Barcelona are losing 2-0 at home to Frankfurt.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the aggregate score?
Lyon West Ham's 0-0.
What's the Barcelona aggregate score?
3-1 to Frankfurt.
Oh my!
I'm not joking. The score is 2-0 to Barcelona, to Frankfurt. Sorry, at the Nou Camp.
Oh
I'm not joking.
God. Yeah, then do you know what? I would not be able to live with myself. Just imagine if West Ham won
the Europa League. But I've heard from some West Ham fans that like they put more of their all their eggs in the Europa League basket, I think, compared to the Premier League now.
Gerard Bowen coming back for them is massive.
He's a brilliant player for them.
He is. He is a very good player. See, the thing is with them is they can't play two games, so and that they haven't got the squad depth. So that's what it all comes down to. If they get through, they could potentially beat Frankfurt. Who else is on the other side of the draw then?
Oh, I think it's Atalanta. Let me just give me a sec.
Yeah, Atalanta are there. I know Atalanta are there.
Because let's go. Atalanta, Leipzig. Leipzig won 2-0, so I think they're through.
Leipzig will be
Leipzig
through.
went
Yeah.
through.
And then who
Rangers
else?
are winning against Braga, but I think it's 1-1 on aggregate. Obviously,
Tuna
Frankfurt beating Barcelona. Oh, West Ham just scored. Okay, just
West
now.
Ham just scored.
Yeah, yeah. Craig Dawson.
He got sent off in the first game, didn't he?
Yeah.
How's he playing in this game then?
Hold on. Are you sure it was Craig Dawson, or was it not someone else?
Who was sent off?
I forgot who it was. It wasn't him. Hold on.
Who got sent off in the first game?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name now.
Well, it weren't Dawson then, was it?
Yeah, let me check. West Ham, because they drew, didn't they, versus Leon?
Yeah, they do.
Hold on, let's go. West Ham versus Leon. 1-1. 10-man. Jared Bowen came. Oh, Aaron Creswell.
Creswell, that's it. Creswell.
And Ndombele equalised for Leon.
Yeah.
Of course. So do you think Lo Celso and Ndombele and Dele leaving has actually made us better as a squad? Yeah.
Yes.
Like, do you think it's more mental, or do you think it's more? Because, like, I feel like there's more of a team spirit now compared to before.
I think a bit of both. Because if you kind of got to think that there's two. Ndombele is kind of, no one doubts his ability, but then you've got to kind of doubt his desire. That you've had three managers come in and they didn't fancy you. For like four managers, if we go with Jose, and Poch didn't play him from the get go either, and he was supposedly a Poch player. So Poch didn't really. I think he played a bit part role. He played against Aston Villa. He was playing bit part roles under Poch, and then obviously Nuno never really played him. Mourinho never really played him. Well, they went through phases where he didn't play, and the same with Conte. So there's clearly an issue there. No one doubts his ability, but it's just his application, desire. Maybe he's not a Premier League player. He's not a Premier League player. That's what it comes down to. That the intensity of the Premier League is not for everyone. There's been plenty of good players who haven't made it here, and that's not that they've not got the quality. They've just got a different sort of skill set. So and it's a massive, for me. Everyone says, okay, so like back the manager. The manager for me, in just allowing us to allowing him rather to get rid of those egos or whatever they brought to the dressing room, the negativity or whatever. We don't know what went on in the background, but that's a massive statement for me. So you've got rid of our number one record signing, our number two record signing. Off you go. Yeah. And on loan as well. Yeah. And I believe we're subsidizing their wages to some degree as well.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, so we're subsidizing their wages, and then you've released Dele Alli, who potentially 3-4 seasons ago you could have sold for 3-digit millions. So and we've released him on a free transfer. So for someone to say that the manager hasn't been backed, he's kind of brought in two players that he's clearly identified and wanted and brought in. And January window is notoriously hard to kind of do your business in, and it's predominantly strikers that go in that window if we're talking historically. But he's managed to bring in two players that he wanted and he's got rid of our number one, number two. Just let that is a massive thing that we've done as a club to kind of back him. So let's see what the summer says. If he commits to a new deal, by after getting top four with a bit of a pay rise, I only got to see us going from strength to strength next season. And it's all dependent on what Chelsea do next season. So I can see us with that. We wouldn't be in this kind of best of the rest scenario pushing for fourth. I think that we could kind of mount a challenge to get up and amongst the top three. So let's see. It's step by step, isn't it?
Yeah, we just have to keep taking every game at a time. One game at a time, sorry. Yeah. Just see how it goes.
That's exactly it.
But if you were to predict, would you think we'll go top four then this year? Like hand on heart.
I think we will just get it.
We'll make it.
After the Brighton game, if you ask me the same question and we get 3 points from this and we get 3 points from Brentford, I have no doubt in my mind that we will do it, because I think we've got Norwich. We still got to play Norwich last game of the season.
Norwich, the last game of the season away, I think.
And Arsenal's last game is Everton away.
I think so.
Or Everton at home. They've got to play Everton. Well, if the relegation scrap goes to the last game of the season, then that's not an easy game. And I don't think Arsenal can win those two games. And like I said, if you go psychologically 6 points ahead of Arsenal and they go into those two games against Southampton away, who's just got an absolute hiding from Chelsea, I'd like to think that you're going to get kind of some sort of managerial reaction from Hussein Hartle, but let's see. And that's not going to be a walk in the park. And then obviously we've got Chelsea, who are no longer
United as well. Yeah.
And they no longer have European commitments. They no longer have European commitments.
So just to wrap it up, I'm just going to ask you for a prediction for the score on Saturday. So what do you think it'll be? 2-1, yeah? I think it'll be 2-0 personally. Yeah.
Kane and Kulusevski.
You don't fancy Son to score? No. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Conte doesn't win Manager of the Month, because you know what?
We're not getting sacked.
Well, we won't get sacked. We always lose our next game. Whenever we've had Manager of the Month, we just lose our.
Did you hear he had COVID or something as well?
No, apparently he's going to be on the touchline. So it's, the protocol or the isolation isn't the same.
It's changed now, isn't it? Yeah.
It's changed. I think it's like three days as opposed to, I don't know what the exact protocol is, but yeah. So apparently he's going to be on the touchline. I've noticed as well from the touchline, which I've been noticing a lot. Whenever I've watched the Conte Cam or whenever I've watched the games, I do study the guy who's his assistant manager, the assistant manager guy, the bold guy. He came from Italy. He's bold.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of got brown hair. He is very vocal.
Yeah, he's screaming at them, I think, most of the game.
And he's also 24/7 in Conte's ear. Apparently, he plays a massive part, and is very all of this kind of tactical stuff. A lot of it is he also brings a lot to the table. So I don't know, but you'll obviously miss Conte's presence if he's not going to be there, but I don't think that the team kind of will perform any differently. It's an interesting one. Apparently, I expect it's a sellout. The weather's going to be nice. Let's just see. Hopefully they make our weekend. Yeah.
But let's hope they don't do the typical Tottenham and just try to ruin it. But I can't see us not winning personally. I think we'll win 2-0.
Then that's it. Then.
So it's great having you on. It's great speaking to you as well. I haven't spoken to you for a very long time.
Likewise. Good luck with the channel, man. How long have you been doing this for?
How long have you been doing this for? I just started for like a week or two now, so yeah.
Oh, really? No. It's